For now I won't say anything and just want to observe a bit more. The direction can only be guessed. Before entering, we adjusted our course to fly straight toward the target location. As long as we don't veer off course midway, we should be fine. So it should be fine, right? Lin Zhu responded to Lu Yao's words, though he felt somewhat uncertain himself. What if we get lost? Lu Yao pressed for an answer. The area of Silver Star, free from filth, spans several hundred light years. Even if lost, a few years would be enough to traverse it. And we haven't done nothing along the way either. Lin Zhu chuckled and said, along the way, he not only opened a higher dimensional perspective and entered a higher dimensional state, but also continuously engaged in higher dimensional interference. Every area that has experienced a loss of filth will be interfered with, making it more of an inner filth area. So, even if we got lost, it wouldn't be a wasted trip. Can you hold on for several consecutive years in a high-dimensional state? Lu Yao began to worry again. It should be fine. Moreover, it's not impossible to take a break in between. Although most areas of the bank have been overtaken by the lost filth, there are still some parts that remain untouched, like an oasis in the desert, where one can certainly find a place to rest. Lin Zhu wasn't too worried. What if we can't find the oasis? Lu Yao stood her ground. That's simple. Just toss the spaceship and all of you into the portable space. You all stay on Earth for now. I locked myself in a high-dimensional state to rest and get some sleep. Woke up, re-entering the higher dimensional state. Let's release you all and continue our journey. Lin Zhu said nonchalantly, it's precisely because I have this final escape route that I am not worried at all. Alone, drifting in the filth of loss, you had a big heart. Lu Yao argued, it's mostly developed through training, otherwise what else could it be? Lin Zhu shrugged, and at that moment, Mu Ziyu, who had been watching for a while and thought she had learned Miss Q's method of massaging the temples, jumped in to take over and continued massaging Lin Zhu. Miss Q was guiding him from the side, making the male lead eager to give it a try. Mu Ziyu massaged Lin Zhu for a while, then hesitated, but still gave up her position to the male lead. Time passed just like that. A month quickly went by. Although the small spaceship is not big, it has a rest area and rooms prepared for everyone. But during this month, no one went to the room to rest. Because Lin Zhu cannot rest, he needs to maintain a high-dimensional state at all times. So everyone simply accompanied him. Anyway, for them, it's either an immortal or a celestial fox. Working a month without rest is nothing. If you're really tired, just close your eyes for a bit, and you'll feel better. Only Lin Zhu cannot rest at all throughout the month, not even for a moment. To be honest, he was a bit tired, so he was contemplating whether to let everyone enter the personal space while he drifted in the chaos for a while and took a nap. Actually, there's someone even more exhausted than Lin Zhu, and that's Lu Yao, who has been holding on to books and practicing problems for an entire month without a break, almost as if he's addicted. I don't know how he has held on, but he's still so excited now. The dark circles under his eyes are even worse than Lin Zhu's. At that moment, the heavy black tide outside the idle window suddenly vanished, and the various detectors on the spaceship went wild. Lin Zhu immediately perked up, and the voice of the Firefly sounded, the spacecraft is entering the oasis. Repeat, entering the oasis. Do you need to pause for a rest? Rest. Lin Zhu immediately said, so the spacecraft quickly began to reduce speed from 100 times the speed of light, while the sound of the Firefly echoed once again. Quantum communication signals discovered in the oasis. Repeat, quantum communication signals discovered. Intelligent life forms found. Intelligent life forms. At this moment, Lin Zhu was completely stunned. This was beyond unbelievable. "Master, do you want to go check?" "Miss Q, look," Lin Zhu asked while lying on her lap. To ease Lin Zhu's fatigue due to the constant high-risk situation, Miss Q directly massaged his temples using a suction technique. Lin Zhu spoke up and finally turned over to sit up. Please support with monthly votes and recommendations. The chapter is finished. Chapter 113. Long Live Humanity. The diameter of this oasis area is about 100 astronomical units. This place has not been tainted by the lost filth and is considered one of the few oases within the entire Silver Star that remains uncorrupted. Therefore, such places in Yingxing will become increasingly rare. The so-called astronomical unit refers to the average distance from the Earth to the Sun, which is 1 astronomical unit. 100 astronomical units is roughly equal to 1/16 of a light year. In the vast universe, we are extremely small. However, the distance from the Sun to Pluto is 40 astronomical units. So for an intelligent race living on a planet, this range is large enough. The oasis of 100 astronomical units before Lin Zhu's eyes belonged to the territory of a star. 2 planets are orbiting around this star. The continuous communication signals are being sent from one of the planets. The signal's content is simple. It continuously broadcasts that this place is surrounded by lost filth, urging the remaining intelligent life to retreat to the last stronghold. Is that planet the last stronghold? Lin Zhu pondered over the deciphered communication signals. If nothing goes wrong, the signal should also come from the human descendants. The encoding method of this communication signal, along with the nanobots found everywhere in this oasis, is evident. It can even be said that it was the nanobots fighting against the erosion of pollution around the galaxy that saved this galaxy. Although a single outbreak of loss and filth is enough to eliminate this small resistance. But fortunately, the filth lost in this area has not erupted until now. Is this the defense node that was once swallowed by lost filth? But has it really been this long, and you're still holding on? Lan Zhu's voice was filled with disbelief. Therefore, the galactic Great Wall is not just a defensive line surrounding the Silver Star, but also has several defense nodes extending into the Silver Star itself. As time passed, these defense nodes were either abandoned or consumed by filth before they could be discarded. Yet the one before us clearly belongs to the latter, and before it could be discarded, it was swallowed. But no one could have imagined that this defense node, consumed by the loss of filth, actually survived instead of being destroyed. Let's go, and we'll know when we see it. The spaceship flew towards the planet that was continuously sending signals and soon arrived above it. Yingxu looked down at the red planet below, filled with violent storms and flying sand as the spaceship descended toward its surface. Soon we arrived at the location of the signal, a massive interstellar base built with nanobots as construction materials. A vast expanse of steel covers the crimson planet, looking strikingly prominent. As several people jumped off the spaceship, it had already been stored in Yin Zhu's personal space. At the same time, Yin Zhu released a large number of autonomous mechanical aggregates that were docked in his personal space on Earth. One part patrolled this base, while another part flew towards the sky to check on another planet in the star system. Although there was no signal emitted from that planet, exploration was still essential, otherwise what if something was overlooked? Yingxu led Miss Qiu, Nanju, Mu Ziyu, and Lu Yao into the vast interstellar base. Although he couldn't find the door right away for Yinzhu, getting in was quite simple. The building materials made of nanorobots cannot be stopped by anything. With just a thought, the thick steel walls before Yinzhu transformed into liquid nanobots, opening the door for him. Yinzhu walked straight in, and the nanobots behind him transformed back into the wall. Just like that, there's no need to walk through the hallway, just explore slowly. Yin Zhu stood still, and all the walls he encountered along the way were directly transformed by nanobots, clearing the path ahead for him. Yin Zhu and the others swaggered their way into the core area of the base. On the way, Yin Zhu saw various chaotic scenes in the base, with all kinds of abandoned items and shattered bottles scattered on the ground. Even after thousands of years of erosion, some traces remain, revealing the haste and confusion of those who fled during the chaos that suddenly struck here. Unfortunately, it's clear that not everyone managed to evacuate, otherwise there wouldn't be ongoing signals requesting intelligent life to gather here. Look at this decorative style. It resembles our Xianhu tribe. The male protagonist observed the surroundings, occasionally poking at the broken jars and bottles on the ground. This accessory belongs to our Ranxian clan. Muzi picked up a jade pendant from the ground and said, "Why do all the accessories of the Ranxian clan look so menacing? It's either carving a sword or carving a knife. Look how cute we are." The male lead proudly shook the half-test tube in front of Muziu, which was decorated with two hollowed-out fox ears. "How much do you love your ears and tail?" "On the ears of Africa. There is still something on the test tube." Muxius said in silence, "But the Pengu clan just loves our ears and tails. What's the problem?" "You can ask Lord Lin Zhu. He always stares at my tail." The male lead said proudly, "Hey, hey, where do I have that?" Lin Zhu hurriedly denied it. "Director Lord Lin Zhu, you've been in a high-risk state these days. You must be very tired, right? Shouldn't we take a good nap and rest for a while? Why not just sleep with your head on my tail? It's very comfortable. I usually like to sleep hugging him." The male lead poked Lin Zhu's arm with his finger, and with his fox ears twitching, he smiled and said, "This might be worth a try." Lin Zhu admitted that he was moved. "Director, you've revealed your inner thoughts." Miss Kiu complained. Passing through walls, the massive base was quickly traversed. However, during this time, some small incidents occurred, such as plasma bombs that had fallen to the ground which had remained primed for thousands of years. After being touched by a few people, it exploded. One can only marvel at the technological level of humanity back then. However, this level of danger is hardly a threat to the group before them. The plasma from the plasma bomb, before it even touched Lin Zhu, was repelled by the effort field generated automatically by the nanobots on his body, keeping it 1 meter away. The rest of the people are about the same. "Why wait, this is still our base in the same camp. How can you destroy it?" "That's very rude." The male lead shouted directly and even jumped in front of Lin Zhu, continuing to yell, "Lord Lin Zhu, he is truly too impolite. I propose to revoke his right to massage you next time and let me do it instead. Your scheme echoes even light years away. Do you want to fight?" Muzi stated, "If this can be tolerated, what cannot be tolerated?" The male protagonist silently assessed the combat power of both sides and ultimately felt disheartened. Since it is combat power, what is it? Where does this count towards? It was a noisy journey, mainly because the male lead was making a fuss, while Muzi was just a supporting character. After the arrival of the male lead, Lin Zhu suddenly felt that the atmosphere became much livelier when everyone was together. So, is this what they call someone good at livening up the atmosphere? I can only say she truly is a fox spirit. Finally, after passing through the last liquefied wall, the group arrived at the control room that was continuously sending signals outward. It is clear that this is a command center with large screens surrounding it, a high seat in the middle, and rows of seats descending, with advisors seated around the screens at the bottom. Unfortunately, all that remains now is a wasteland, along with some skeletons sitting in command chairs. Are they the ones who hold on until the very end? Lin Zhu looked at the skeletons one by one, feeling a bit heavy-hearted. "This is the human immortal tribe. This is the immortal fox tribe. And this is the elf." The male protagonist's expression became much more serious as he recognized each skeleton losing the carefree demeanor he had just moments ago. Still the same saying, truly a fox spirit with 100 different charms, switching effortlessly. Did they never wait for the retreating people to reach the stronghold until the end? Maxiu felt a bit sad. Isn't this a good thing? No one retreated here, which means everyone successfully evacuated. Lu Yao patted his shoulder and comforted him. "You are right." Mu Zaiyu was persuaded. "Yinghuo, take over the base's database. I want to know what happened in the end." Lin Zhu ordered. "Understood." The sound of the fireflies came. Lin Zhu always kept a channel connecting to the outside world in his personal space, enabling the intelligent computer to support his every need at any time. This channel is only the size of a few atoms on the surface of his body. Even when he is immersed in chaos and filth, the disorder and corruption that cannot invade his body are helpless against such a channel. But this channel was enough for him to stay in contact with Earth at any time through his personal space. "Master, I found the last data record from the base. Do you want to take a look?" Check. In the next moment, a holographic projection formed in front of Lin Zhu. That was the image projected by the firefly controlling the nanobots. The image is filled with swirling snowflakes, and the picture is not clear, even slightly tilted. It is evident that the footage is on the brink of being unusable, barely managing to capture these scenes. "But, sir, why hasn't Shasha left yet?" "My body, Shasha, is being eroded by chaos, and I can't hold on much longer. Shasha. You all go ahead, I'll stay Shasha. The galaxy has been blocked, and Sasha cannot escape. Personnel from the failed retreat, gather at the location. Repeat once more, gather, hold firm, watch over, all of humanity." But unexpectedly, Richton described the house of Jai Jai, which was already in decline, forcing out the beams. "After the rain, I went to the palace of desperation. Without trust, the motherland's resistance against the war is futile. I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that. I must pay strong attention to not use myself. I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that. Not pad 2 painter board moto application. The remains have been gathered. 200 years. How could he die so quickly? The spirit beast is strange. You should know. These people are not immortals. It is a celestial fox. Or it's also an elf. Life can't possibly be this short. They were all eroded by chaos. That's why I chose to stay. Hold on until the end. Eroded by disorder. So how did they die? The spirit beast sensed the blind spot. Because the clan was eroded by chaos. In the end, it will completely fall. The monster on the chaotic side. It's impossible to leave quietly. Killed by companions during a rampage before death. The last 7 people. It is a nanorobot. Completely annihilate the chaos and filth within the body. Suicide. So only incomplete skeletons remained. The missing bones have become disordered. Annihilated by the nanobots as commanded. The spirit beast fell silent for a moment, then spoke again. "The remains of those people before. Where has it all been collected?" "Over here. You can go directly." Fireflies before the spirit beast. A holographic projection displayed the map. It also indicated on the map, "Walk straight through the wall, the shortest route." "Let's go." "Go take a look. By the way, let's help them with the burial too." The spirit beast spoke. "There are already now robots around us." Automatically formed into the shape of a coffin. The giant corpse above the command was loaded inside. The spirit animal then walked towards the nearby large gate. The coffin floated behind him. Aren't you going to go through the wall? Lu Yao had not immersed himself in the ocean of mathematical knowledge. No, don't skimp on this distance, the spirit beast said. Lu Yao has just pulled his mind away from the math problem. That's when it hit me. The spirit beast must want to give these people their last respect. But soon, the spirit beast stopped in front of the door, because the main door can no longer be used. It won't open. Of course, he still has a way. The nanobots liquefied to form a large gate, cleared the way. The spirit creature walked out. This really eased the awkwardness. Lu Yao suppressed the urge to complain. A few people arrived at another storage room not far away. This is the place to lay the remains. In a storage room, in small boxes, containing the remains of 130 people. The spirit beasts also joined the last 7 people. Master, these corpses, should we take it away? Miss Q inquired. No, let's just leave them here. Ling Chu hesitated for a moment, still decided to go. The surrounding corpses are filthy. All will be purified into inert filth to ensure the remains are filthy. It won't erupt after he leaves. Erode here. What happened next? Just wait for the clans behind. After reclaiming the battleground, you will naturally know what to do. As long as the corpse of Yin Xing can be defiled, purified into inert filth, then the clans reclaimed the land of the dead. It's just a matter of time. Just let them be here. Let's wait a little longer. Everything is about to end. It's almost done. The spirit beast made such a promise. Very soon, autonomous mechanical aggregate. The reconnaissance of another planet has concluded. That planet has not been discovered. Signs of the presence of dependence. On this planet, self-disciplined mechanical aggregate, there are no other discoveries either. The spirit beast was carrying the chamber of 137 corpses. After tidying up, also left here, take off vertically while remaining still, penetrating through layers of automatically opening ceilings. Left the base directly. Immediately from the personal space, take out the small spaceship of over 100 meters. Back in the spaceship's cockpit. I'll take a break for a while, then continue on your journey. The spirit beast did not return to the spaceship, in the bedroom prepared for oneself, but instead lay directly on the sofa. The exhaustion of being in a high-dimensional state for a long time. I need to relieve some stress, although the spiritual creatures are already high-dimensional beings. But his subconscious, I haven't accepted this yet, still considering myself a lower-dimensional being. So the subconscious is at play. Keep the high-dimensional state always turned off, and he continuously enters a higher dimensional state. You need to focus, constantly reminding your subconscious. Don't let your guard down. I instinctively turned off the higher dimensional state, maintaining focus on one task for such a long time, even if it's just playing games. It can also get tired, let alone the constant disorder and filth along the way. Interference in progress, disorderly filth from the traversed area, all is seized by lazy filth. However, the spirit beasts believe difficulties are only temporary. As I gradually adapt to this state, accustomed to being in a high-dimensional state for a long time, then I won't be so tired anymore. It's just the fatigue from prolonged high-dimensional interference. It's still unavoidable, so he urgently needs to take a break. Only then can we continue on our journey. Then Miss Q quietly sat down on the sofa, placed the head of the spirit animal on his thigh. Meanwhile, continued to massage Ling Chu's temples. Ling Chu did not refuse. Quickly entered the dream. The male lead on the side looked a bit envious. If it is Muzi being targeted by the spirit beast on the thigh, he will probably contest this position again. But since it's Miss Q, then let's just watch honestly. Ling Chu did not sleep for long, woke up feeling refreshed a few hours later, then continued to activate the high-dimensional mode. The spaceship accelerated instantly under the control of the fireflies, bursting out of the galaxy, rushed towards the chaotic gathering. Ling Chu turned back to look. This place is filled with the floating creations of the family clan. What I saw last was a star that hadn't shone for many years. The satellite that has long been decommissioned. The spaceship suddenly plunged into the chaotic void, sailing towards the new year at 100 times the speed of light. The spirit beast also perked up, in this state of higher dimensions, continuously interfering with the chaotic situation along the way. The disordered wuhui of the transit zone, all are pulled into a state of inertia and will no longer continue to expand. Just like that, a whole year has passed in the blink of an eye, at a speed 100 times the speed of light. It has already crossed a distance of over 100 light years. During this year, the spaceship also passed through several oasis regions, encountered the two defensive nodes of the Zhuangzi again. Here, spiritual creatures may occasionally become weary. Let Miss Q and a few others temporarily enter her portable space. Then, floating alone in the chaotic darkness, turn off the high-dimensional state, take a nap and rest. When I wake up, reopen the high-dimensional state, take out the spaceship. A few people continued on their journey. After this year, continuously activate the high-dimensional state. The spirit beasts are now opening the high-dimensional state, has become completely proficient. Or say, it is her subconscious. She has already corrected it. In summary, the spirit creature is now entering a higher dimensional state, will no longer be affected by the passage of time. I just feel exhausted, but constantly engaging in high-dimensional interference. It is still a very exhausting thing. Just like that, a journey of 100 light years has passed. Calculate the distance. Distance to humanity's last footprint. It shouldn't be far now, but this is along the way, in the absence of yaw. Although Yinghuo is controlling the spaceship, I have been trying hard to walk in a straight line, and under the calculations of the supercomputer. In theory, the spaceship won't go off course, but without any reference point, sailing through the disorder of misunderstood coordinates. No one can guarantee the route will definitely be 100% accurate. There has been no deviation. So, now all Ling Chuksu can do is pray. My luck was good enough, but it's okay. Even if I miss it, just fly back a few more times. It's just a matter of spending a few more years. Anyway, I have plenty of time. Comforting herself, activating a higher dimensional state, constantly interfering with the passing chaotic misunderstandings. Suddenly, the spirit creature saw in a higher dimensional state, a place several light years away. It seemed as if it had been intentionally marked. From a high-dimensional perspective, there exists a very obvious space there. Is it really? The subspace where humanity stores relics. The spirit of the spirit beast suddenly perked up. Check the direction. It really has gone off course. No surprises. That should be the foothold of humanity. Just this subspace. Why is it so obvious in higher dimensions? Awakening to, it's as if it's intentionally a higher dimension. The location of the subspace has been marked the same, at least the subspace encountered by Ling Chu before, no matter her own personal space. It's still Miss Q, Muziu, male protagonist, Lu Yao and others' personal subspace. It's still those clans' personal subspaces. It's not like that at all. Wait a moment. Labeling positions in high dimensions. Could it be that humans did this on purpose? However, the humans of this era, how did it happen again? Labeling positions in high dimensions. Humans of this era, Ming hasn't been born yet. It, why do humans want to exist in higher dimensions? Mark the location of the subspace. It's just light. It, how did they know someone would come looking for them? Everything is filled with mysteries. The spirit beast issued orders for the cargo, the command to change course. Although the cargo is unclear, but still, according to the command of the spirit beast, changed course, sailing towards the location of the hyperspace, a distance of several light years. It will take about 10 days to arrive. However, the closer we get, the spirit beast, however, generated more confusion. I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that. Looking for monthly tickets and recommendations. Thank you for your support. Thank you. End of this chapter. Chapter 114. Human Relics and the Era of the Galactic Counterattack. A small spaceship over 100 meters long. After the collective vote, named the Lark. It means that although the sparrow is small, it has all the vital organs. The spirit beast had no intention of this. Anyway, it's just a naming fee. Do you think this name is good? Then let's use it well. Strange. Is it my illusion? Why does it feel like the Kuroshio current here? It seems to have faded. Lying by the idle window, observing from hundreds of meters away the male lead of the deep black tide. The tone was filled with doubt. I think so too. It seems a bit different now. It's much dimmer now. Is it an illusion? But losing misunderstandings. How could it fade? Muxiu also couldn't understand. It's not an illusion. The loss and misunderstanding here. It has indeed started to thin out. Ling Chu confirmed the statements of the two. Does the master know something? Miss Q asked. Here begins. We are getting closer to the high-dimensional weak point. The spirit beast replied. As a high-dimensional being's spirit creature, nature can sense it. Information related to higher dimensions. The flood of misunderstandings lost in the Silver Star. It was initially due to advanced civilization, mining chaos energy in the Silver Stars, then the residue after using the chaos primordial energy. It is just a misunderstanding of loss, carelessly discarded among the Silver Stars. This caused the rampant misunderstandings in Silver Star, so much so that quantitative changes led to qualitative changes. The final shot is irreversible. This area of Silver Star, the reason we can extract chaos origin energy. It is precisely because there are weak points in higher dimensions within the Silver Star. Of course, there are high-dimensional weaknesses. It doesn't mean that you can pass through the weak point. Entering a higher dimensional space became a higher dimensional existence. It's like a fish jumping onto the shore. It doesn't mean you can immediately become a human. The greater possibility is being killed on the shore. Moreover, the so-called higher dimensional weak points within the Silver Star, it is not something that intelligent life can pass through. Taking the extraction of chaos primordial energy by advanced civilizations as an example. Unite the power of the entire civilization. Bombard the weak points of the higher dimensions. At most, it can only blast open a few atomic-sized higher dimensional channels. Then, using these high-dimensional channels, the size of atoms, a little bit of gathering chaos primordial energy. It will take nearly 1,000 years, only capable of collecting sunflower seeds of that size, a unit of chaotic primordial energy, and several high-dimensional channels the size of atoms. How could it possibly allow intelligent life to pass through? It is precisely for this reason. Lin Zhu had known for a long time there are varying numbers of high-dimensional weak points among the silver stars. But it wasn't taken too seriously, especially when he found out 10,000 years ago humanity sought the meaning of life. None of these high-dimensional weak points have been addressed as an opportunity for life to begin. Naturally, we subconsciously ignore these high-dimensional weak points. But I didn't expect. Humans have not managed to exploit these high-dimensional weak points for the sake of life, but effectively utilized these high-dimensional weaknesses as distance marks the position in the high-dimensional compressed space. Getting closer, Lin Zhu also began to feel more and more the boundary between high dimensions and low dimensions is weakening. This is a high-dimensional weak point among the silver stars. It turns out that the last stop for humanity before entering Silver Star was. It turns out to be a high-dimensional weak point. Lin Zhu suddenly felt a bit dazed. It seems humans have not identified the weak points of the high dimensions within the Silver Star, a convenient pathway to becoming. But back then, it was used here. Conducted in-depth research on high dimensions. It might even be right here. Humanity has only just taken its first step into existence. Otherwise, how could humanity possibly exist in higher dimensions? Mark the position of the pressure space. It must be the humans from back then. Research on higher dimensions has achieved certain success. This successfully positioned the compressed space, marked in high dimensions. As the boundaries between high dimension and low dimension begin to blur, the chaos and filth here are becoming increasingly rare. There is even a trend of completely withdrawing from this space. Disorder and filth are ineffective against the higher dimensions. As the boundary between high dimension and low dimension becomes blurred, the chaos and filth gradually became less violent, even lost that kind of devouring everything characteristics of assimilation order. It increasingly resembles the inertia and filth purified by Lingxu. Of course, it only happens in this area. Leaving this area, these chaotic impurities will return to their original form. But now, with the arrival of Lingxu, Lingxu has purified them into true inert filth. So even if we leave this area in the future, and also lost the ability to assimilate order, however, Lingxu's current attention, no longer entangled in this chaos and filth, it is just still subconsciously, continuously engaging in high-dimensional interference, purifying the chaotic filth. In fact, attention was completely shifted to this peculiar high-dimensional weak point. Perhaps to ordinary people, this place is no different from normal space in the universe. Tens of thousands of years ago, a high-level civilization mining chaos origin energy here. I can't tell what is different here from normal space. Even 10,000 years ago, humans study higher dimensions here. It is hard to tell what is different here compared to normal cosmic space. They just rely on various instruments and devices, even mathematical calculations. Come discover the weaknesses of higher dimensions. Let's imagine the existence of higher dimensions. However, from the perspective of the high-dimensional beings now, but it's completely different. Lingxu saw it, the blurred boundary between high dimensions and low dimensions. In this space, high dimensions and low dimensions are surprisingly close. It feels as if there is just a thin layer of paper in between. Even Lingxu felt, activating high-dimensional forces by oneself here. High-dimensional interference has become countless times easier. Because I am here, high dimension and low dimension are so close. Lingxu even has a feeling through the high-dimensional weak point here. He could even perceive things directly from a higher dimensional perspective. Direct your gaze towards the other high-dimensional weak points among the silver stars. Then, taking advantage of these high-dimensional weak points, directly project the power of high-dimensional interference onto the entire silver star. Does that mean oneself can directly interfere with the entire silver star's disorder and corruption? The chaotic filth spanning hundreds of light years around the silver star, everything has turned into inert filth. Thinking of this, Lingsu's heart was pounding wildly. But will it work? We still need to wait for him to find the weak points in the high dimensions, the weakest point, then try again. And this point needs to be found. Regarding ordinary civilization, even for humans from 10,000 years ago, it might all be very difficult. But for Lingzhu, it was not difficult. From the high-dimensional perspective of Lingzhu, everything is clearly visible. At the same time, Lingzhu also saw it. He is looking for the foothold of humanity from 10,000 years ago, subspace of stored relics, at that same weakest point. Clearly, humans from 10,000 years ago were deliberately placed here. Master, there is a small asteroid over there. Miss Kiu has always spoken in a calm and steady voice. There have been fluctuations. In this chaotic filth that devours all order, there are actually substances that represent order. This is simply a miracle. No, even miracles are not enough to explain. Asteroid. Really? But how is this possible? The male lead leaned entirely against the window. The beautiful face has been flattened. The wanderer pushes forward, glaring wide-eyed, looking at the small asteroid that was about half the size of a full moon. Yep, that's right. It is in the chaos and filth. Mu Ziyu turned her head to look around, recognize the presence of chaos and filth all around. The heavy darkness here has faded a lot. So through the darkness, I can already see some things in the distance. Only then did everyone see the existence of the asteroid. But no matter what, this is still within the chaos and filth. Incredible, incredible. What is the principle behind this? On the other side, I am oblivious to the outside world. Yixin can Ku read mathematics, the long road. It was difficult to even lift her head from the math problems. A pen is still tucked behind their ear, studying the nearby asteroid together with every one. And the lark is slowly approaching that small asteroid. Because of that asteroid, it is where the destination lies. Because it is close enough to Gao Wei, even close at hand. So the chaotic and filthy vitality. It was suppressed to the lowest level. Even the inertia of filth. They are all more vibrant than the chaos and filth here. There are material residues. There's nothing unbelievable about it. Lingzhu explained on the side. At the same time, the lark has landed on this small asteroid. Lingzhu was also at the same time, opened the portable space. In an instant, a large number of nanobots emerging from the personal space, and after surging out, leave the range of Lingzhu and Zhu Kai and me at the very beginning. A fierce conflict erupted between chaos and filth. It's just that, although this place is a den of chaos and filth, but was suppressed by Gao Wei, complete chaos of disordered activity, no longer a match for the nanobots, easily expelled by the nanobots. So very quickly, the entire asteroid and its nearby area, it became the realm of nanobots. All the chaos and filth are not eradicated. I was forced to retreat. However, nanobots, it can only maintain this large of a range. After all, this is the stronghold of chaos and filth. If it weren't for relying on Gao Wei's suppression, Nanorobots won't be so easily defeated. Just expel an entire small asteroid. All the chaotic filth. Suddenly, Lin Zhu's consciousness, through nanorobots, scattered throughout the asteroid. The command to open the hyperspace has been issued. The next moment, the anchor pin in the subspace of this small asteroid, it has been opened. As the hyperspace opens up, in Lin Zhu's personal space, self-disciplining mechanical collective on Earth suddenly surged forth a large number of self-disciplined mechanical aggregators, entered the hyperspace. The excavation of human relics in the hyperspace has begun. At the same time, Lin Zhu observed the space between the high dimension and low dimension. The weakest point cast the gaze from the higher dimension towards the silver stars. The other high-dimensional weak points he is observing. Tried long distance through high-dimensional weak points. In the rest of silver star, the possibility of conducting high-dimensional interference. It's also because the boundary between high dimensions and low dimensions is approaching. When Lin Zhu performed the high-dimensional interference, it has also become much easier, even if it means crossing countless light years. Distant interference has also become possible. So, Lin Zhu lay down on the sofa in the cockpit of the Lark. Lord Lin Zhu, are you tired? Let me give you a head massage. Lan Zhu was the first to notice Lin Zhu's movements. As soon as his eyes lit up, he darted over. He didn't wait for Lin Zhu to agree. Just sat directly on the sofa, placed Lin Zhu's head on his own thigh, and also the fluffy big tail. It covered Lin Zhu. Lin Zhu originally didn't want to vacuum and get distracted. For the sake of this fluffy tail, changed their mind. There's no way. Who made this tail feel so good? However, usually Lin Zhu is also. It is rarely touched by the tail of the blue bamboo. The tail is indeed the sensitive point of the blue bamboo. Every time I touch his tail, Lan Zhu's face would turn bright red, even though he said it was nothing. But Lin Zhu didn't dare to touch it much. But today is a special situation. Lin Zhu felt he should relax his mood. So after hesitating for a moment, still haven't refused. Don't move. I need to focus. Don't disturb me for a while. Lin Zhu placed his hand on the tail and said, I will definitely behave. Absolutely won't make a sound. Lan Zhu immediately nodded repeatedly. What kind of ghost can't make a sound? It sounds like you think I can do something. But Lin Zhu still closed his eyes. The high-dimensional state is completely opened to the maximum. Penetrate consciousness into higher dimensional space, projecting towards the various high-dimensional weak points in the galactic core. Through various high-dimensional weak points, maximize the mobilization of high-dimensional power, beginning high-dimensional interference. With Lin Zhu's current abilities, the range of high-dimensional interference, not even a galaxy, but because we are now in a high-dimensional space, the blurred boundaries with low-dimensional space. So he, being in a low-dimensional space, maximize the mobilization of high-dimensional power, plus the various weak points in the silver's high dimensions. Let him better project his interfering power. Under these various circumstances, Lin Zhu, in that moment, success in covering the entire galactic core, disorderly filth spanning hundreds of light years, performed high-dimensional interference. In this moment, the entire galaxy seemed to pause for a moment. Then, everything is different now. Renxian Clan Battle Star 338, as the battle star of the Wind and Fire platform, already departed from the star known as Wind-Fire, joined the frontline battle. The dark tide spreading from Yinzhen already swallowed several defensive lines. approaching the battle star, countless immortals, constantly from the war star above, rising into the sky over Africa. Then waves of sword energy slashed towards Heikeo, joined the front lines of battle. Mo Chen, the commander of the battle star, standing tall in the void, silently watching the approaching black tide, continuously deploying troops secretly. Finally, when another gap appeared, they also charged into the battlefield. But he hasn't drawn his sword yet. Suddenly, the dark tide across the entire front line. It seemed to pause suddenly, and all the immortals discovered everything has changed. Originally devouring everything, assimilate everything, continuously growing. The chaos of filth that grows stronger with every blow. Suddenly no longer devouring the encountered matter, it felt as if the ability to devour had been lost. Simultaneously, the immortals launched their attack. The black tide has actually begun to weaken. Mo Chen was initially a bit confused. Suddenly, I shivered all over. He suddenly thought of news from Battlestar 16 of the Xianhu clan. So, Mo Chen disregarded the advice of others, rushed directly into the dark tide, rushed out again after a moment. He confirmed it. This is no longer chaos and filth, but rather inertia and filth. Gradually, more and more people discovered this. The Battlestar number 338, which had already begun to despair. Morale has been restored again, and the morale is simply sky high. Lord Lingsu. It must be Master Lingsu who succeeded. We are going to win. We are finally going to win. Long live the Tangu clan, Shenlong clan, Battlestar 1176, Fish scales, serpent body, eagle claw, deer antlers, a divine dragon measuring thousands of meters long. The body is amidst the cosmic starry sky, winding and stretching, and the countless divine dragons that roam the starry sky, facing the not-so-distant place, already trapped in the black tide. A space station rushed forward. The original name of the space station was Orc. The warriors, now renamed as the Frenzied Battle Clan, let out a wild roar, reinforcements arriving from afar, repelling the onslaught of the black tide again and again. All directions have been engulfed by the dark tide. But the dark tide could never completely engulf the space station, until the reinforcements from the Shenlong clan scattered the black current. Countless divine dragons are directly dragging the space station, escaped from the range of the black tide. Fight while retreating. Retreating to Battlestar 1176. The Battlestar of the Berserker clan is here, already swallowed by the dark tide. The Battlestar of the Shenlong clan has come to the rescue. Only the last survivor of the Berserker clan was saved. Only witnessing the violent black tide getting closer, more and more divine dragons come to the rescue, also fell into the dark tide. Suddenly, a divine dragon trapped in the dark tide, under an outbreak, directly pushed the black tide back by 3,000 meters. In an instant, all the dragons were stunned. You're not quite right. When did you become so strong? Not right. This is not right. These chaotic filth has changed. This is not disorderly filth. It is inert filth. This chaotic filth, a change occurred in an instant. Could it be? In an instant. Whether it's the divine dragon or the Berserker clan on the space station, everyone looked towards the direction of Yingxing. As Lord Lingchu succeeded? This is the only possibility. Can we finally fight back? Counterattack, counterattack. Reclaiming lost lands. Forward. Move forward. We won. We are finally going to win. Shan Sai Jingling 756 Battlestar. Battlestar 338 and Battlestar 1176. The situation is very critical now. Where should we prioritize the rescue? Battlestar 1176 is currently the closest to us. Of course, we should rescue here first. However, Battlestar 1176 was originally sent to rescue Battlestar 889. Although Battlestar 889 has now been destroyed, however, the combat power of Warstar 1176 not yet damaged. Normally speaking, it is possible to block this wave of disorderly pollution outbreak. So I believe that no, 338 is more worthy of rescue. The outbreak of chaos and filth. Where is it so easy to block? Rather than the tactic of adding fuel to the fire. Let 1176 bear it alone. Let's go support 1176 first. This blocked the chaotic outbreak over there. Support the Battlestar 338 again. But Battlestar 338 is about to give in. In the conference room, the elves were arguing back and forth. But no one can convince anyone. Watching time slowly slip away. No results yet. Even the elves, known for their elegance, they all gradually became restless. At that moment, suddenly an urgent communication. Approaching the conference room. The content conveyed in the message. All the fairies were momentarily stunned. Next comes disbelief. Succeeded. Lord Linksu has succeeded. The chaos and filth of the entire Silver Star. Has everything been purified? Is it true? Incredible. This is unbelievable. However, the founding clan is truly incredible. Isn't it? Yes, the founding clan has ascended, became a higher dimensional existence. Even more incredible. It is only natural. All right. I propose we ignite the galactic flames immediately. Inquire with all the galactic Great Wall defense nodes. Is there disorder and filth over there? For the same reason due to laziness and filth. Reconsideration, reconsideration. So, above the galactic Great Wall, the flames have never been ignited so frequently. Signals of light particles accelerated to their limits. Between the stellar channels, quickly transfer using a leap transition. Deliver the communications to various nodes of the galactic Great Wall. Very soon, each node confirmed with one another. The entire Silver Star is facing the chaos and filth of disorder. Everything has started to become tainted by laziness. It's still only spreading among the higher-ups. But soon, the news was spread to all the astrology communities. In an instant, cheers resounded among the stars. People spontaneously rushed out of their homes, started to celebrate. Some even directly control Africa, running wildly in the universe, swinging sword energy everywhere. Fireworks exploded in the sky one after another. 10,000 years have passed. They finally saw it. The possibility of completely overcoming disorder and filth. Finally found it. The way to completely reclaim the lost territory of Yinzing. This moment they have waited for far too long. On the 16th star of the Xianhu clan, Elder Jiling watched the cheering crowd below. He looked again in the direction of Yinzing. Images of spiritual creatures emerged in my mind, and the appearance of the male protagonist, my little apprentice. A face that is always tense. It is rare for them to show a smile. He turned around to face the many elders and deacons behind him. Ladies and gentlemen, they celebrate there. Let's first outline the plan for the counterattack. It should be so. This is the most urgent matter at hand. Make a plan early, then send the plan to all the kinfolk. Everyone determines their respective areas for counterattack. This major counterattack. We must completely eradicate the chaos and filth in Silver Star. That's right. I've waited for 10,000 years. I couldn't wait any longer. This major counteroffensive The estimated time is not short. Fight all the way to the center of Silver Star. It should take a few hundred to 1,000 years, right? 1,000 years has passed quickly. The chaos and filth spread here in the beginning, but it has expanded for more than 10,000 years. I estimate that even hitting it for 1,000 years might not be enough. It seems like another prolonged war is upon us. That's right. But this is the final war. Yes. Just take a glance. Aha laughing heartily, facing the impending Millennium War. But there was no sign of grandeur at all. Instead, it feels incredibly refreshing. Then they turned together, entered the conference room. They argued about how to deploy the troops. And this situation, among the human clans on the Great Wall of the Galaxy, it can be seen everywhere. The moment the era arrives, changes began to occur. Milky Way Galaxy, finally freed from the looming crisis of destruction above it, broke free. Milky Way Galaxy, it's safe now. Chapter 115. The Perilous Reunion Between Spirit Beasts and Humans. Latest King's Order. The spirit creature lying on the male lead's lap. I only feel a throbbing pain in my head, pressing his hands tightly against his head. At this moment, the spirit beast felt like its head was boiling. It felt as if even the brain matter was boiling, although it relied on high-risk weaknesses. But with his current abilities, to conduct such a large-scale, high-risk intervention, still a bit forced, after giving it my all. The result is that my brain feels like it's going to explode. Lord Lingchu, are you okay? The male protagonist had just been playing with the tail of a spirit creature and a face that was bright red. At this moment, everything was already a stark white, in a flurry of chaos. I don't know what to do. Master, how are you? Miss Q, who has long been by my side. The voice remains as natural as usual. Hello, you can't be serious. Don't count me out yet. You got into trouble first. Even Lu Yao, who was busy practicing questions, raised his head, nervously looking over at the spirit beast. But she was glared at by Mu Ziyu. Crow's mouth. Don't talk nonsense. I won't speak. Lu Yao quickly covered his mouth. Indicate that you have already been silenced. At this moment, the spirit beast finally began to recover a bit. It's nothing. I take a nap. Just take a break. The voice of the spirit beast was very weak. Looked up. A few burls gathered around. Forcing a smile. Just close your eyes. Fell into a deep sleep. Is Master Lingchu all right? Mu Ziyu whispered in inquiry. Although with his abilities, it's easy to tell that the spirit animal is just asleep. But at this moment it seemed as if they didn't trust their own abilities at all, but rather seek validation from others. Just fell asleep. Miss Q remained the calmest, although there is still a visible unease. It's good to fall asleep. It's fine to fall asleep. The male lead is resting his thigh on the spirit beast. Patted the trembling chest. I want to take a few deep breaths, but was afraid of disturbing the spirit beast sleeping on their lap. In the end, I had to proceed cautiously. Slowly took a few deep breaths. In the following time, none of the girls were in the mood to do anything else. Just to be in front of the sofa. It feels a bit like dragging through the days. Even Lu Yao, who was busy reviewing questions. The question in hand, it all seems to have lost its former allure. Once I looked up towards the direction of the spirit beast. I haven't solved a single question after half a day, until a few hours later. Lingchu finally awoke from his dream. Master, how are you? Miss Q immediately asked nervously. My head still hurts a bit, but it's no big deal anymore. Lingchu pressed his forehead. Miss Q visibly let out a sigh of relief. Lu Yao pouted. Finally, I can focus on doing the questions. Mu Zi walked around the sofa in circles. They also relaxed. The male lead takes over the spirit livestock, gently massaging her forehead. At the same time, the tail couldn't be suppressed, gently swaying on the spirit beast. This is her good mood. Happy emblem. How is the situation? After I fell asleep. Is everything okay? Ling Chu sat up. Situation. The excavation plan proceeded as scheduled. Specific situation. You need to ask about the merchandise for hosting an event. There's nothing going on here. Miss Q replied. It's all good. I'm afraid I'll fall asleep. The high-risk barrier is gone. Disorder and filth. What if the counterattack backfires? You are in trouble. Ling Chu nodded and said, disordered filth has already lost the ability to be disordered. Became a lazy filth, even if we counterattack. It's nothing serious. The male lead casually said. Also, the spirit beast nodded slightly. Originally, this area, when chaos and filth still reign, at a high-risk vulnerability point, the chaos and filth on this small asteroid, it's all so dull. It's almost like sloth and filth. Now the entire silver star is in chaos. All have become lazy filth. The inertia of filth in this area. It needs to be more than the laziness and filth found elsewhere. Even leisure, when it was not yet consumed by inertia and filth, still seeking authenticity, and wrapped around the asteroid, nano-robots attack and defend. Now there is neither attack nor defense. Just feeling lazy. And the nanobots. Well, water does not interfere with river water, although my head still hurts a bit. But it's no longer a major issue, and it resolved the disorderly filth of Yingxing. It can be considered resolved. A heavy stone pressing on my heart, even if I have a headache. Lingxu felt more happiness. But once the happiness was over, it's time to get down to business. About this ruin, Lingxu still has many doubts, waiting for the logistics team in charge of the excavation. Come to clarify it. Master, data from the database in the ruins. Search completed. The documentation for the upgrades of various technologies has been completed. Just wait for your command. The Earth can begin upgrading various technologies. In the database, there are also some new technologies. The most important new technology. This is research material on the development of vacuum zero-point energy and several vacuum zero-point energies in the ruins. Production factory of the collection device, vacuum zero-point energy. Can it be applied now? The spirit of Lingxu asked curiously. This is even more powerful than antimatter annihilation. We need a better source of energy, safe and full of endless energy. Just want to achieve. The technical means are more challenging. 10,000 years ago, the fleet is here, changed to a vacuum zero-point energy collection device, gained a matter-antimatter reactor, more sustainable, moreover the massive energy, and can be increased to 1,000 times the speed of light. Didn't they say it was 100 times the speed of light? Is this already the limit of the propulsion engine? Lingxu cannot comprehend the Tao. That was just the known limit at that time. Any limits in science, they are constantly being broken, and it can be increased to 1,000 times the speed of light. It is also thanks to the use of vacuum zero-point energy, Yin Huo explained. Very good. After the information was revealed, let's start the transformation of the drive engine on Earth. Complete it as soon as possible. There is also a factory for vacuum zero-point energy collection devices. And move to Earth as soon as possible. Then restore production according to the data. and expansion. Lingsu issued a series of commands. Understood. Master, apart from that, there is still a lot of observational data on high dimensions in the database, and the data for extrapolating calculations in higher dimensions. Yin Huo then said. Lingling's spirit was lifted. High-dimensional data. Yes. Most of the time humans stayed here. They are all exploiting the vulnerabilities of this space, researching higher dimensions. What have they discovered? Lingsu asked. You may need to take a look at this in person. Information related to higher dimensions. Please forgive me for not being able to understand for now. Yin Huo's voice was filled with regret. Understood. Please send me the data. I look back. Lingsu nodded. All right. The data has been sent to you. There is one more thing that may require your personal attention. What is it? There is a location within the ruins. The computer cannot capture. Unable to observe. Suspected to be related to higher dimensions. Searching the database. I suspect there might be a message left for you by humans over there. Yin Huo finally said. Where? Lingzu immediately felt invigorated. Asked eagerly. At the core of the subspace ruins. Because it involves high dimensions. Self-regulating mechanical aggregate. Unable to relocate it. You need to go in person. Yin Huo explained. Wait a moment. Are you saying the message left for me? Lingzu sensed the conversation's focal point. Yes, message left for you. To be exact, it is. A message left for the future arrivals of humanity. Yin Huo explained. They know. There will be humans coming to find them. The Lingsu heart is pounding wildly. It feels as if we are getting closer to some truth. I'm sorry. Limited information. Unable to deduce. Yin Huo replied. Understood. I'll go take a look myself. Lingsu nodded. It seems this flight is unavoidable. Master. Miss Q stepped forward, standing beside Lingzu. His gaze was firm as he looked into her eyes. With me? Mu Zaiyu and the male protagonist also stood beside Lingzu and me. Even from a distance, Tai Lu was swaying in his seat. Everyone raised their hands. This is related to high-dimensional matters. It must be to join in the fun. Then let's go together. Lingzu nodded. Since it is a message left by humanity for itself, there definitely won't be any danger. Just go along if you want to. So then, a group of 5 people left the Skylark. Lingsu waved to the Lark. The portable space has been incorporated. Then the 5 people moved towards the open front, flying to the Yijia space entrance. At this moment, the Yijia space, on the asteroid, open at a height of tens of thousands of meters, panged at entrance and exit. At the same time, opposite the entrance and exit of the Yijia space. This is Lingsu's personal space. It also opened an entrance and exit thousands of meters wide. Inside the entrance and exit of the portable space, you can even see the shadow of the Earth. Then, between 2 opposing entrances, a large number of self-disciplined mechanical aggregators, moving back and forth continuously from the IKEA space on Earth in the spatial pocket of the Lingsu, relocating various equipment, and the 5 from Lingsu. It is mixed in with a vast number of, in the self-disciplined mechanical conglomerate, entering the IKEA space, in the Yijia space. It is a piece associated with an asteroid, asteroids of similar size. Above the scattered asteroids, a dense array of various buildings, decorated an entire asteroid, like an interstellar fortress. But in reality, this is a research base. With the production base, defense forces, They are just some nanobots with self-disciplined mechanical aggregates. But now it has been incorporated by Lingsu. So there are no defensive forces left here, a large number of self-disciplined mechanical aggregates. Continuously in the subspace, the buildings on the asteroid were dismantled, then transported back to Earth. Lingsu 5 people landed in an area that has not yet begun to be dismantled. According to Yin Huo's statement, this is the core database. This is also the most important place in the Yiji base. So we have to wait until the end to load and unload. And Lingsu is here. Why can't it be like last time in the Junzu base? Directly command the wall made of nanobots, building strength and quality, far surpassing the nanobot conglomerate. So Lingsu can only go through the main door. Fortunately, in the guise of another human, you can use facial recognition here, not even needing the already taken over database by Yin Huo come to open the door for him. As Lingsu stepped in, the big gate opened automatically. Strange. Is this open to everyone? Lingsu walks through the gate, looking at the hall that's suddenly lit up with a soft glow. Doubts arise. Isn't it only humans who can enter? Muzi did not understand the meaning of Lingsu. He has gradually changed now. Humans are referred to as the Pengu clan, because Lingsu is more accustomed to addressing humans. So he also started using the term human more often. Yes, but this is the core data, right? 10,000 years ago. As long as it's human, can anyone come and go freely here? At that time, humanity. Not everyone has been born yet. Lingsu cannot comprehend the Tao. The master's intention is, the program here, it is specifically set for future generations. After humanity left, the person who has come here again, as long as it's human, you can come and go as you please. This Q speculated. Maybe. It's hard to say about the spiritual sequence. So, 5 people entered the hall. The great door continuously opens for Lingsu, passing through one hall after another, corridors one after another, finally took the elevator deep underground. Finally, the elevator opens. I arrived in a rather strange hall. This is what happened. Mu Ziyu instantly splashed onto his hand, staying by Lingsu's side, stand guard all around. As he began to speak, the same sound echoed from all directions. This is what happened. This is what happened. Here is what happened. It's not an echo, but from all directions, in countless identical halls. There are countless identical voices. The same spiritual sequence. Miss Q, Muziu, male protagonist, Lu Yao and the 5 people, standing in the middle of the hall. And these countless halls formed an endless space, endlessly extending in all directions. Lingsu reached out, tightened the anxious Muziu. Calm down. Those are also us. Calm down. Those are also us. Calm down. Those are also us. In the countless halls from all directions, countless spiritual sequences, it made the same sound. Under the reassurance of Lingsu, Muziu gradually calmed down. However, what is going on here? Muziu lowered his voice. So, Muziu in the countless halls from all directions. He also lowered his voice. This space. There are some high-dimensional characteristics. It's just like the world in the animated shows we watch. It is actually composed of one painting after another, in high-dimensional space. Look at our world. Likewise, Lingsu explained. I understand. I lost my composure. Muziu surveyed the surroundings, gradually calmed down. He is also a highly educated visionary. How could you not understand these? It's just the first meeting. I just didn't react in time. His performance is relatively good. The male lead has already acted immediately, tightly, holding Ling Zu's arm, secretly observing the countless versions of oneself around, also being scrutinized by countless versions of myself around. I can't dare to speak any more. Of course. He was really scared after all. Still just want to take the opportunity to hold Ling Zu. Then it's hard to say. Master, is this the world from a higher dimensional perspective? Miss Q curiously asked. Not. A higher dimensional perspective is far more complex. This only has some high dimensional characteristics. Lingsu shook his head. Miss Q nodded. The first time I realized. The world through one's own eyes. The world seen through Ling Zu's eyes. What a huge difference it is. And on the long road, he is even more of a doer. After all, he has always had a very busy personality. So, directly heading towards the left hall. So I ran over there. Don't go. Muzi wanted to call out to him. Don't worry about him. It's nothing. Ling Zu stopped Muziu. Wants to stop Lu Yao's actions. It's not a big deal. Indeed. As Lu Yao rushed toward the left hall, Rai in the hall on the right also rushed towards them, in front and behind, the vastness of countless halls in all directions. They all rushed to the left hall. Oh, it is Lingsu. Miss Q. Wen. Sao Huli. Lu Yao ran in from the right side hall. Look at Ling Zu and the others. Hesitantly asked, What do you call me? Mu Ziyu and the male protagonist asked in unison. Sorry. Too shocked. I accidentally spoke my heart. Lu Yao feels a bit awkward. Call me Fox, I can understand. Why add a flirtatious touch? The male lead expresses his inability to accept it. You can't help but get excited as soon as you see Lord Lingsu. Muzi revealed the truth. This way. Then you will call me Lord Lingsu from now on. Exclusive flirty fox. I forgive you. The male lead thought for a moment, solemnly said to Lu Yao. Lu Yao stared at him blankly. There is only one thought in my mind. To be so shameless to the point of being effortlessly natural. It seems to be true. It's not fake anymore. You guys should get it together. Ling Zu had to speak up to stop them. Otherwise, continue speaking. I still don't know what to do. Ed, do you need to go back? Lu Yao looks around in all directions. Countless versions of myself in countless halls. I don't know if I should stay here any longer. Still return the same way. If you feel uncomfortable, you can go back. No difference. This place does not have countless versions of you. From a high-risk perspective, you are all the same person. Reflections from different angles. Ling Zu. For high risk, he has the most authority to speak in this situation. All right. I can understand what you're saying, but I still feel that it's better to go back. A brief meeting. Lu Yao shrugged, then turned and ran back to the right hall. A moment later, Ling Zu looked to the left at the returning Lu Yao. I said it. No difference. I know it makes no difference. But I just feel like I won't come back. It's as if I have swapped places with another version of myself in a different time and space. This feeling is not good. Lu Yao sighed and said, But that's not another version of you from another dimension. Here from start to finish. You are the only you in this entire timeline. Just from a high-risk perspective. Just like scenes from an animated film. All right. What should we do next? Lu Yao decided to change the subject. He no longer wants to waste his brain power on this matter. At the same time, decide, I must do a few more sets of math problems when I look back, then analyze it from a mathematical perspective. Maybe then I can understand it myself. Let's go. Go ahead. I have already seen him. Lingsu looked ahead and said, however, in the eyes of a few girls, ahead is just the same hall, and the same few of them. Nothing at all. Since Lingzu said it like this, that must be right. Who made him a high-risk organism? Those most qualified to speak about high risks. Let alone, this is just one. A space with some high-risk characteristics. It's no longer a truly high-risk space. So, several people followed Lingzu's footsteps, continued to walk forward. At this moment, Lingzu, although my head still hurts a bit, but it doesn't stop him from entering a high-risk state. So, in a state of high risk, Lingsu led a few people forward. The scenery around began to change instantly. The hall has disappeared, turned into a vast ocean. A few people find themselves in the midst of the ocean. The enormous pressure wall instantly crushed several people, if it weren't for the fact that none of them were ordinary people. Just like this, I'm about to be crushed into a meat patty. And around the few people in all directions. Countless spiritual sequences are the same. Miskyu, Muziu, the male lead, and Lu Yao. Even every Lu Yao. In the chaos, I grabbed Muziu's hair. Juai's demeanor was exactly like Muziu's, both hunting for money. Lingsu continued to walk forward with a few people. Wang Yang has disappeared. The surroundings transformed into outer space again. In the infinitely expanding universe, countless spiritual sequences are the same. Walking ahead with 4 girls. The universe has become a star again. The stars have turned into glaciers. Finally, Lingsu and several others arrived at a land where meteors continually fell from the sky. Finally ahead, saw a figure different from the 5 people. Master, Miss Q suddenly grabbed Lingsu's arm. It's nothing. That is the person we are supposed to meet. Lingzu patted Miss Q's hand. She gestured for her to calm down. Humanity. How can Miss Q still remain calm? This is the only one for humans besides their own master. Another human. Isn't it said that? Is it just a message? The male lead widened his round eyes, as if to address the confusion of a few people. Originally, a few people were facing away. It feels like admiring the silhouette of someone watching a meteor fall from the sky. Turned around. He was a young man who looked to be about the same age as Lingzu, with a smile on her face. He began to explain. I am indeed just a message, but just like humans painted a portrait. So, from the perspective of someone in 2-dimensional space. The person in this portrait looks exactly like them. Then does that count as a person? Well, the male lead let out a strange cry in fear. Even the fur on its tail and ears stood on end. Lord Lingsu, Lord Lingsu. He can talk. This isn't a message from Lu Hao, is it? Of course, it's a message from Lu Hao. It can't be that they really left one person here. Let's wait 10,000 years. Don't worry. Let's chat after a while. I just disappeared. You don't have to be so afraid of me, the young man said with a smile. But Lu Hao's message. How can you predict what we're going to say? Lu Yao asked in confusion. This is the magic of higher dimensions. Of course. This is not foreseeing the future. Don't get it wrong. The young man speaks of higher dimensions. Some reflections. Then I took a closer look at Lingzu. A look of satisfaction appeared on his face again. Looking at your condition. In the future, we should have succeeded. Great. This is really great. Ah, speaking. The young man laughed heartily. I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that. Request for a monthly pass. Request for recommendation. Thank you for your support. Thank you, everyone. End of this chapter. I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that. Chapter 116. The mission of Lingsu and the truth from 10,000 years ago. You don't know what it means to be successful. Lingzu finally spoke, talking with this shadow from the past. I only know, at that time, we finally reached the weak point in the higher dimension, validated many long-held conjectures, confirmed some things. There are even more questions now. Gained a lot of understanding about higher dimensions. There are many more now. Confusion about higher dimensions, but ultimately I stepped onto the path of understanding. The first step to higher dimensions. The young man took a step forward, as if reminiscing about the past, generally lamenting. But at that time, humans have not yet been born. So after that time, matters within the understanding of humanity. You are incomprehensible. Lingsu thought for a moment, nodded in realization. Yes, I was a human back then, the shadow left behind. At that time, humanity, it's just a preliminary understanding of higher dimensions. That my understanding of the world, nature cannot surpass. At that time, humanity. So, my limit, it was just that time of humanity. Even if humans are born, my upper limit, it is still the same kind of humanity. After all, I am just a shadow. I am different from you. Human existence is for. Just follow your instincts. But a shadow is still a shadow. The young man nodded. The gaze towards Lingsu, filled with tranquility. I was still thinking, can I know from you what happened to humanity later? Where have you gone now? Lingzu feels a bit regretful. I want to know these. You asked the wrong person. However, if you just want to know, where did humanity go next? Then I can tell you. Humans went to Silver Star. Or, I don't know either. The young man walked over with a smile, with a wave of the hand toward the ground. Facilities such as sofas and coffee tables just appear on the surface, at the same time inviting Lingzu. Let's sit down and chat. I have many things I want to talk to you about too. I've been here for so long. Finally, I met someone who can talk. Let's have some tea. Let's talk slowly. Speaking, I just sat down on the sofa. Another wave of the hand. A set of tea utensils appeared on the table. Brewed the tea. Okay, then let's chat slowly. Lingzu sat down on the sofa opposite her. He waved again to Miss Q. Mu Ziu, Nanju and Lu Yao also sat down. However, Mu Ziu and Nanju, but it's you looking at me. I'll take a look at you. No one dared to sit. After all, this is a conversation between two Pangu tribes. Where is their seat? It's still Miss Q and Lu Yao. Regarding the so-called Pangu clan, there is not such a great sense of reverence. Miss Q directly sat down beside Lingzu. Lu Yao also sat down with a thud. Mu Ziyu and Nanju. Kai also sat down. So, 5 people sat on the same row of the sofa. On the sofa across from me. Only the young man was left alone. I really envy you. If I had brought a few relatives back then. Just stay with me. The young man looked at Lingzu's condition. Her expression turned melancholic. It seems like these 10,000 years. I really can't hold it in anymore. At the same time, brew the tea. Handed Lingzu a cup. Lingsu took a bite. Put it down again. At the same time, from the personal space, took out a bottle of cola. After taking a sip, he said, I still prefer drinking this. Cola is unhealthy. But for us, it seems that health doesn't really matter anymore. The young man shrugged. I still don't know your name. Ling Zhu inquired. You can call me Wang Jian. What about you? Ling Zhu. Wang Jian nodded. Okay, let's continue our previous discussion. I know nothing at all. Why do you want to leave a shadow of me here? Indeed. Actually, I still know a lot. For example, why did humanity decide to set sail back then, leaving Earth to chase life? Wang Jian directly revealed shocking news. But Ling Zhu suddenly straightened up. He has been thinking about this problem for a long time. Even the few girls next to her. Everyone immediately perked up their ears and listened carefully, because they were also very curious. The humans of that year. I have never shared such insider information with the clan. Why, I'm sorry. I can't tell you. Wang Jian feigned a shot. Then he laughed evilly. You mother of asterisk 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 Do you see it? Ling Zhu. Ling Zhu was immediately speechless. Oh, I'm sorry, but I really can't say. Wang Jian repeatedly waved his hands. Why, Ling Zhu does not understand. It's very simple. Because you are special. You have your mission. Before you complete your mission, one must not let certain things influence their judgment. Wang Jian reined in his smile. He said seriously, I am special. I am not sleeping because of cancer. Was it only retrieved from the ice layer after 10,000 years? Ling Zhu cannot comprehend the way. You can't really think that. Frozen in the ice layer can make you persist for 10,000 years. Not dead yet, right? Wang Jian looked at Ling Zhu. It feels like watching. He said foolishly, What is going on? Ling Zhu inquiry. Let's put it this way. When the journey began back then, those who participate due to terminal illness, individuals of the cryonics program, we all took it away. Only a few are definitely dead. Only then will it be placed in the ice layer. It's considered an alternative tombstone, I suppose. Wang Jian explained. I crawled back from the graveyard. I have become a zombie. Ling Zhu suddenly feels a kind of walking out from the graveyard, a sense of déjà vu. Stop talking nonsense. Where did the zombies come from? Actually, if you seriously check the database, it should be traceable. Before the voyage begins, once a batch of frozen hibernation pods went missing, and it vanished inexplicably without a trace. The name Ling Zhu, it's one of them. Wang Jian replied, Listen, I traveled through time, arrived in the future. Now, the sleep pod has crossed over. Ling Zhu widened her eyes. I don't know, but at the time of departure, we do harness chaotic primordial energy, saw it from a higher dimensional perspective. In the future, someone will come to seek us. That's why we left the Taiyan behind. We just didn't think about it back then. You rascal. The earth has been brought forth. Wang Jian looked at Ling Zhu and complained. I'm not afraid of being lonely on the road, am I? Right. Then that means the moon knows. I belong to those who went missing back then. One of the personnel in the dormant pod. It was you who didn't let him tell me. Ling Zhu suddenly thought of, What are you thinking about? What is left for you is yours. You didn't ask properly, did you? Wang Jian continued to complain. That being said, Ling Zhu recalls. It seems I haven't really delved into it. Why has it been 10,000 years for me? The matter of successfully awakening. After all, what happened at that time? Each one is enough. What remains on earth is just oneself. All of humanity has fled. At that time in Lingsu, my mind is completely occupied, never really delved into it. Why has it been 10,000 years? Only oneself is still alive. Just consider it good luck. After other terminal illnesses, those who participated in human cryonics have all died. Just survived on my own. You just mentioned my mission. What is that? Lingsu asked. Well, I don't know either. Wang Jian shrugged and said, You don't know either. Lingsu looked at him. A look on your face as if to say, Are you kidding me? I really don't know. At that time, humanity did not know either. But when we give our all, in a high-risk perspective, searching for future humanity as a useful key point, that in 10,000 years later, the one who chases us, it was when you appeared. That means you are very important. Although we can't see who you are. I can't see you, you guy. They directly opened up the earth. But we know your existence is very important to humanity. You have your mission. Or to put it more mysteriously, you are a part of destiny, an indispensable part. Wang Jian looked at Ling Zhu seriously. Humans have already become. Ling Zhu now feels. I just look like a fierce person. So what? You need to know. In high danger. Time sometimes. It doesn't necessarily have to be a straight line. All right. This sounds a bit pretentious. What does high risk really mean? What's going on? What kind of? I don't know either. Now perhaps you understand better than I do. But you understand. It definitely isn't everything. In conclusion, in the midst of danger, anything is possible. So don't belittle yourself. Wang Jian continued brewing tea. Don't forget to give Miss Q a few girls. A cup was placed in front of one person as well. Time, oh time. Do you think it's possible? It is the future where humans have already become. Let the past me travel through time. Lingsu thought for a moment and said, Who knows? Everything is possible. Your time travel, it could be part of the plan. It might just be an accident. It might even be someone is vandalizing. We currently have too little information. Guessing is meaningless. Rather than guessing blindly, it's better to work hard to obtain more information. Wang Jian raised his teacup, took a sip, causing destruction. We still have enemies. Lingsu exclaimed in surprise. How would I know? I was just guessing. Irresponsible conjecture. Do you understand? I only know about things from 10,000 years ago. Who knows what the future holds for humanity? Wang Jian shot him a glance. A rare and peculiar appearance. All right. What else do you have? Can you tell me? Lingsu gently rubbed her temples. He felt this would be a bit mentally taxing. The head, that was just not hurting much anymore. It started hurting again. Miss Q looked over. Get up immediately. Gently massaged his temples. Wang Jian was happily drinking tea. Seeing this scene, suddenly the tea in the cup no longer felt fragrant. Envious. Ling Zhu noticed Wang Jian's displeasure. Immediately felt much happier. You make me infatuated with you. This is retribution. Envy. I didn't. I am just a shadow, without those worldly desires. Do you understand? Wang Jian stubbornly said, All right, all right. Hurry up and speak. What else is there? Can you tell me? Ling Zhu no longer provoked him. What if we break through their defenses? What if I don't say anything? Pointing at oneself. From him. Get more intelligence. Say. There's nothing more to say. Just keep moving forward. One day it will catch up with humanity's pace. Wang Jian was drinking tea. The expression still looks a bit upset. That Aren't you going to tell me something very important? Otherwise, why would I have kept you here back then? Don't just slack off. Linksu reminded the other party. Pay attention to your work attitude. I can't stand watching others take girls out. How can we have fun like this? There were some very important matters to discuss. But you have already finished everything. I have nothing more to explain. Wang Jian shrugged and said, What does it mean? Linksu does not understand the way. It's just a misunderstanding of disorder. I originally stayed here. I am here to assist you, confronting the misunderstanding of chaos. Who knows you just arrived here? I haven't seen you yet. Just resolve the misunderstanding. So what else can I do? I can only let things fall apart. Wang Jian was drinking tea, crossing his legs. He said in a leisurely manner, But what's going on? You are here to assist me, confronting the misunderstanding of disorder. Ling Zhu at this moment felt like a worker. Before the boss assigns the work, regret for finishing the work first. Though work has to be done eventually, but I did it for the boss in advance. It's just frustrating. You should know. The troop began to welcome new members back then, mainly to find ways to combat misunderstandings caused by disorder. Wang Jian thought for a moment and said, That's right. I know. Ling Zhu nodded. Actually, at that time, we already knew. We cannot find a way, because the ones who can truly save the newcomers, it's you from 10,000 years later. Wang Jian explained. This is also seen from a higher dimensional perspective. Linksu spell medium path. Yes, although not everything. But we can see several possible directions. For example, back in our time, I don't know what method you are using. Misunderstanding of disordered confrontation, but I know you can do it. But I'm afraid something might happen to you. So it was arranged. I will guide you through the confusion, assistance, and similar things. Who knows, I haven't even made my entrance yet. You've got this sorted. Actually, this is a good thing. At least it shows. Your abilities exceed our expectations. Wang Jian nodded. However, why can't I see the direction of the future? Linksu's doubt. He is now truly a high-dimensional being. A high-dimensional perspective can be open 24 hours a day without dead angles. But I've never seen any direction of the future. Perhaps you haven't mastered the method yet. You know, there are many applications of higher dimensions. It's not said that higher dimensional beings can immediately master everything. It also requires learning. And it's not about seeing the future. Just saw application methods of high dimensions, possible paths for the future. At that time, we weren't even sure. You, the pursuer of 10,000 years. Does it really exist? But this is us at that time. The only thing I saw. Methods to combat disorder and filth. So we can only take a gamble. Wang Jian thought for a moment and said. Linksu nodded. Indeed, when I just awakened on Earth. In fact, he is already a higher dimensional being, but they couldn't even open a higher dimensional perspective. Later, during the war, encountered an opponent using high-dimensional weapons. This is just the beginning of unveiling the veil of higher dimensions. Above the opponent's high-dimensional weapon, learned how to leverage a part of the high-dimensional power. So, you all make offerings to the Silver Star, looking for ways to combat disorder and filth. Actually, I came to find you. Linksu thought about this issue again. The expression is a bit strange. Humans from 10,000 years ago, running here to find myself 10,000 years later. How to think about this? Why do I feel like scratching my head? That's right. And now we have found it. Isn't it? Wang Jian shrugged again. Did you have a cramp in your shoulder? Ling Su couldn't help but complain. I just like to shrug my shoulders. Who are you to tell me what to do? I shrugged. I continued to shake. Wang Jian looked provocatively at Ling Zu. My shoulders tremble non-stop. Lu Yao beside her, watching the performance of the two. A face full of despair. Are all you humans this silly? Could you please act normally? Over the years, the slight admiration I had for the Pangu clan, it shattered on the ground with a thud. Still say that to be born as. It just needs to have this kind of quality. Even Mu Ziyu and the male lead turned their faces away, with a face full of reluctance to witness. Only Miss Qiu continued to remain carefree. Lingsu is massaging her shoulders. Isn't it just being silly? Miss Qiu has studied human history. Naturally, no. Since the internet era began, the number of goofballs among humans has surged. This is nothing at all. All right. Don't cramp up.